Welcome to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judaic Congregation in Los Angeles. Here is Assistant Rabbi David Stein.
So we'll continue tonight with the laws of Shofar. Last night we talked about what your shofar should be made out of, but how do we sound the shofar? Okay, so we know the answer to that, but where does it come from? So the Gemara Rosh Hashanah says the following. The Gemara Rosh Hashanah says, "Minayin shepshuta lefaneha." How do we know that before we sound what is the Trua, Yom Trua Yelachem? Rosh Hashanah is described as a day of Trua. We'll talk about what that is in a second. But how do we know? The Gemara says, how do we know that before any time we sound a Trua, we need a Pshuta? We need a, Pashut sound? Right? Very pashut. It doesn't change, it doesn't waver, it doesn't do anything. It's a very pashut sound. So the Gemara says that the Gemara has a pasuk to derive that, and then continues, Minayin shepshuta le'achareha. How do we know that every trua has to be followed as well by a pshuta? And so the Gemara says we have a pasuk for that as well, and therefore the Gemara concludes that the basic requirement of Rosh Hashanah is the following. It is to sound a trua, Yom Trua Yelachem, and that trua has to be preceded and followed by a pshuta, by a simple sound. Oh, good, Robert's here. Okay, perfect. So by a simple sound, how many do we have so far? I just gave it. How many do we have so far? If you're keeping count, 3. We have 3 sounds: a pashut, a trua, and a pashut. Okay, good. The only catch is that there are 3 times that we have a Yom Trua that is referred both to Rosh Hashanah and to Yovel. So the Gemara understands the basic obligation is 3 Trua blasts. So, do the math. How many sounds would we now be at? Every Trua blast has to be preceded and followed by a simple pashut sound. So we're at 9. 9 comprises the core obligation. 3 sounds of Trua, each one preceded and followed by a simple one. Do the math, we have 9 sounds. There's only one problem. The Gemara goes on to say, okay, great, we got it. And we know what a pashut is. A pashut sounds, that's pashut, that's simple. Okay, but what's a trua? Well, what sound is that? And it's the Gemara says, well, okay, there's a couple possibilities. It could be a staccato, what we today would call the trua, right? Or it could be something closer to a yavava, something closer to a, not the staccato, but three sounds. Maybe that's the trua. So the Gemara is not sure. So comes Rabbi Abahu, and Rabbi Abahu is quoted in the Gemara as trying to answer this question. And he did so in Caesarea, which is nice. A couple of weeks ago, he was in Caesarea. So Rabbi Abahu was also in Caesarea, and he tried to answer this question. What was his answer? His answer was, let's do all of them. So stay with me, because we have 9 core sounds, 9 core truot, there are 9 core shofar sounds that we need, 3 truot. One possibility is that the trua is a trua. So we got 9. But Rabbi Abahu said, we're not sure. So let's also do the shvarim. Now how many do we have? 15. Thank you very much. And he said, could be also that the trua is a combination of them. So that really we have to combine shvarim trua. We have to do that as well. Shvarim trua, each one of those is 2. So what are we going to end up with? 30, because we have 9, 9, and 9 is 27, but our last one of Shvarim Trua, each one actually consists of a Shvarim and a Trua together, so we end up with 30. This is the biblical obligation. This is the core obligation of the holiday, and it's to hear those 30 shofar blasts. The question, we'll end with this, and then we'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about how we sound them. But the question is, okay, so what happened with Rabbi Abahu? Like before Rabbi Abahu came about, so were they not fulfilling it correctly? Was it possible? So there's different understandings about exactly why Rabbi Abahu had to come and do this. But the Rambam says that actually what happened here was it was forgotten. We didn't know how to do this. There was a Masorah that was lost about what sound to make. And therefore, Rabbi Abahu actually had to kind of say, the only way for us to fulfill this mitzvah is to take all the different possibilities that people are practicing and actually do them all in order to fulfill this biblical mitzvah. There's other understanding that we're showing about how Rabbi Abahu, what Rabbi Abahu really did, but certainly Rambam says they were forgotten. We don't know exactly how to make this sound, so therefore we're going to try all of the combinations which give us our 30 chord Oraita shofar blast.
You've been listening to BDJ Daily Torah, a service of B'nai David Judea Congregation in Los Angeles. To learn more about our synagogue, visit bnaidavid.com.